$89. The Kmart sunglasses that shoot 8 megapixel stills, 1080p video and sound. The listing says you can share your experiences effortlessly. Further down, Kmart tells the buyer to comply with privacy, surveillance, recording and consent laws. Kmart's own page raises the legal question. Compliance sits with the wearer. The person in front has to work out whether the recording started. The manual says 2 lights stay on while it films video. It also describes an audio-only mode and doesn't spell out what the lights do then. That's the documentation gap, not evidence of a hidden microphone. Pull up a seat, regulars. I don't have a pair, so nothing here is a test. I've read the product page, the manual, the Privacy Commission's August post, and 2 state surveillance acts. Nothing there says the product is generally prohibited. What moves the answer is how, where, and what gets recorded. I'm using Victoria and New South Wales to show why there's no single national rule, not a guide to all 8 states and territories. Here's what Kmart says it's selling. Anko camera glasses. Photos up to 8 megapixels, video up to 1080p, Bluetooth for music and calls, image recognition, and chat through a companion app called Hey Kynan. Those are Kmart's claims about Kmart's product. I haven't measured any of it. One thing on that page is worth pausing on. The features list photos and video. The word audio isn't there. It turns up in the warning, where Kmart says the product can capture images, video, and audio. The Guardian reported on the 4th of August that the glasses had sold out, online and in stores. That was then. When I checked the page, it had an add to bag button, so treat the sellout as a moment in early August, not as today's stock levels. The same report put Meta's entry price at $337. Against that figure, on that day, Kmart's version was about a quarter of the price. My read is that the price matters more here than the sensor or the app. That's just my gut feel. Nobody has published sales figures. The manual says double press the front button and video starts. Press once and it stops and saves. Press and hold the button on the back and it records audio on its own without video. While it's filming, the manual says the left flashlight stays on and the blue indicator stays on as well. That is a visible recording signal, at least for the video. Whether another person would notice it is a separate question. Now, the part I couldn't resolve. The manual has a table for what the lights do. It runs through 9 states: power on, power off, connected, disconnected, charging, taking a photo, filming video, image recognition, voice assistant. Audio recording is not one of the 9. And that table isn't sloppy. It tells you the blue light flashes once when you take a photo. It tells you what happens when the app connects and when it disconnects. It documents the small stuff. Audio recording just isn't in it. I want to be careful with that because it's easy to run too far with it. It's a gap in the documentation. It is not proof that these record audio covertly. And I'm not saying that they do. It's a question Kmart could answer on the page in one line and hasn't. A phone held up at arm's length is a gesture people read instantly. You see it, you adjust. A small light on the corner of a frame at a conversational distance on someone already wearing sunglasses is a different kind of signal. How different? I can't tell you from the documents. So, are they legal? Nothing in the material I've reviewed establishes that this product is genuinely prohibited simply because it contains a camera. That's the product level. And the product level is a narrow question. Use is where it gets complicated. What's captured, where, who's involved, what happens to the file afterwards. That's a boring sentence, and it's the whole episode. 2 lines come up every time this gets discussed. Recording in public is always fine. Recording someone without telling them is always illegal. Neither one holds. Here's a split that most of the coverage misses. These glasses capture 2 different things, and the law treats them as 2 different problems. Audio can engage listening devices and private conversation rules. Video can engage optical surveillance rules. Separate provisions, separate exceptions. They don't line up neatly, and they change with where you're standing. Victoria has the Surveillance Devices Act, 1999. New South Wales has its own from 2007. Similar architecture, different statutes, different exceptions. Things that can matter: the place, the premises, conditions a venue puts on entry, whether anyone consented, whether the person recording was in the conversation, what the people involved could reasonably expect, and what happens to the recording afterwards. No single item on that list settles it by itself. I'm not a lawyer and I'm not going to read sections at you. I live in Yarrawonga. There's a bridge at the end of town. The pub on this side is Victoria. The pub on that side is New South Wales. Same glasses, same conversation, same button. Different statutes apply across that bridge with different exceptions, and the answer can change with them. I'm not telling you it flips from lawful to unlawful when you cross. I'm telling you the framework you'd be assessed under changes, and almost nobody wearing a camera knows which one they're standing in. There's a federal layer as well, and it's the part that people get wrong the most. The Privacy Act applies to businesses and government agencies, not to individuals. The Privacy Commissioner said that plainly in her August post. She made a further point about these devices. If the footage sits on the glasses until the wearer moves it to their own computer, it never reaches a regulated company. It may fall outside the Act altogether. What does reach individuals is newer. On the 10th of June 2025, the tort of serious invasions of privacy commenced. A person can bring that action themselves. It's not a general right to stop people photographing you. It requires a reasonable expectation of privacy, seriousness, conduct that was intentional or reckless, then public interest, balancing, defenses, and exemptions on the other side. An unwanted recording doesn't automatically make a claim. Where you are standing is one factor in that. It isn't the whole answer. And the OAIC doesn't run these cases. It's a claim between two parties, and the regulator's own advice is to get independent legal advice. Mine too. Now, the strongest case for the other side, and it's a real one. Nearly every adult here already carries a camera and a microphone all day. Phones, action cameras. Meta's glasses have been on sale for a while. On raw capability, Kmart hasn't unlocked anything. That's not just my summary of the other side. The Privacy Commissioner sets that argument out in her own post before explaining why she doesn't accept it. She isn't dismissing the comparison. She's saying it stops short. The product has indicator lights, including through video. Kmart puts a compliance warning on the page, and the manual tells the wearer to respect other people's privacy. There are ordinary reasons to want hands-free recording where the wearer has permission. Accessibility, documenting work you're authorized to document. Dashcams are the closest comparisons, and they cut both ways. Australians already accept a lot of incidental recording of strangers in public, and dashcams are proof of that. But a dashcam is fixed. It points at a road, and nobody's having a conversation in front of it. Camera glasses move, they sit at eye level, and they can capture what people say. The analogy only goes so far. The honest criticism isn't that Australia has no privacy law. It has a lot of it, spread across 8 states and territories with a federal layer on top, and it's hard for an ordinary person to apply on a Tuesday afternoon. The regulator has spoken. On the 7th of August, the Privacy Commissioner published a post saying the OAIC is giving serious consideration to surveillance wearables and monitoring their market presence, to work out whether scrutiny or intervention is warranted. She says the office is engaged with one entity on at least 2 occasions this year to understand the technical specifications of what's being sold. She doesn't name that entity. I'm not going to guess, and neither should you. She does name Kmart in a different sentence, as one of the mainstream retailers now offering cut price versions. Those are 2 separate statements in one post. There is no public OAIC finding against Kmart. She draws a line in that post that stuck with me though. Surveillance in an airport or a shop is fixed to a place, and somebody had to justify putting it there. A wearable moves with whoever is wearing it, and it's designed to be discreet. Her word, not mine. One number from that post is worth carrying out of here. More than 85% of Australians surveyed told the OAIC their privacy concerns have grown over the past 5 years. Digital Rights Watch, which campaigns on this and isn't neutral, headlined "Smart Glasses a Covert Surveillance Regime in Wearable Disguise." That's advocacy language, not a legal description. But for the person standing in front of a wearer, the immediate warning may come down to a small light and the wearer choosing to behave responsibly. That question is now being asked. It hasn't been answered. So, are Kmart's $89 camera glasses legal in Australia? The glasses are not generally prohibited as a product, but a lawful product can still be used unlawfully. And Australia does not give you one national yes or no rule for every recording. The things that change the legal analysis, and I mean change it rather than settle it, whether you're capturing audio or video, where you are, whose premises you are on, what the venue said at the door, whether anyone agreed, whether you were part of the conversation, what the people around you reasonably expect, and what you do with the file afterwards. Posting something is a different act from keeping it, and that's often where the seriousness comes from. None of that is legal advice. If you're anywhere near a real dispute, go and get some. The practical version is simpler than the legislation. Tell people before you record them. That doesn't settle every legal question, and a light is not the same as consent. but it beats asking strangers to spot a tiny indicator on someone's glasses. And here's the limit on what I've done. On documents alone, I can establish that the video lights exist. I can't establish whether someone across the table would notice them. That takes a physical test and I haven't run one. Kmart puts legal compliance on the wearer. The person being recorded carries the risk of not knowing. That gap is where this lands. Next week, what happens when the recorder is in the room lawfully and by invitation? AI scribes in Australian medical appointments. If that changes, I'll cover it. Every source is linked below and graded, including the ones I couldn't confirm. No hype, no doom. See you Friday, regulars.